This is on my second channel, by the way. Alright, we should be live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. There's probably not going to be very many people watching this. It's also just an unlisted stream, so I'm not crazy enough to do public YouTube stream just yet. You could turn on streamer mode, which abbreviates everyone's names. Yeah, I could do that, but the problem is that then it just looks weird. Yeah. Everyone say hi to unlisted YouTube. It's like the back rooms of YouTube where no one actually watches. Alright, so let's, actually I gotta start my screen share here. Alright, welcome to my desktop, everyone. Okay, so if you haven't been keeping up to date on the, I guess, daily updates that I post, by the way, if you want to be notified of the daily updates, you can sign up for the role in the roles channel. Alright, so the purpose of this stream is we're going to be looking at one of my old games called Ant World. Now, I just want to be really clear here. I made this game when I was between the ages of 13 and 14. So it was a really long time ago, and it is an absolutely terrible game. It might actually be one of the worst games ever made. And the reason why I say that is because it's not bad because it's small, it's bad because it just is way too big and it's just kind of pointless. Publish it? I don't know. I honestly don't even know if I want to subject people to this game. We're going to take a look at it in a second. Maybe when we're done, because we're going to be re-implementing the game in Engine Simulator's new game engine. That's kind of the purpose of this live stream. Alright, so first of all, we're going to actually look at the source code, kind of. And if you guys don't care about programming, this is your time to leave. So, just a warning, code is going to be visible in this video, okay? Can't find the stream? Alright, so what I can do is, I can share the live stream link if you would prefer to watch it on YouTube. Alright, there you go. If you'd prefer to watch it on YouTube, you can watch it there. I will not be responding to the chat on YouTube because there's a limited number of places I can look at the same time. Alright, so here's the folder. And, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this is just complete chaos. It's a Python-based game. If you don't know what Python is, it's a scripting language. It's really slow, and it's not really intended for a game project of this size. I guess you could do it, but it's just not ideal. Everyone joined both streams. I don't think it works that way, but, you know, do whatever you want. So yeah, first of all, there is zero organization in this folder. That's the first thing that we can identify. I mean, I even have, so these Adobe Illustrator files, these are actually the original asset files that I used at the time to create the so-called assets in this game. And this is the infamous big white rock. And I don't know why I mean, to be honest, that kind of just is what it is, so that's what I named it at the time. I didn't realize that there could maybe be a connotation to that. But, you know, and we have other amazing assets like the ant hill image, and we also have an image called a beetle hole. I don't think I really did a lot of research at the time to verify that beetles actually live in holes, so I don't know exactly what I was thinking with that, but there it is, I guess. Oh, this is also the screen when you get arrested. You can get arrested in this game. It's, you know, it's obviously it's a piece of art, it's a masterpiece. But yeah, basically, let's just start the game, and you'll start to understand what we're dealing with here. What genre is it? I don't know if there really is a genre to this. Did you drink before making this? As in, was I intoxicated at the time that I made this game, or are you saying, oh, okay. No, I was 13, so it would have been both illegal and probably not recommended, although, I don't know, if you see the town that I'm from, you might start to question that. I actually don't drink. This is a pretty commonly known piece of information about me. So very unlikely. Alright, so now the version of Python that was used at the time, this was around, I'm not sure of the exact date, like 2007, 2008, that kind of era. So it would have been Python 2, and I think what I have installed here is Python 2.7. So we're just going to go ahead and start this. And if I remember correctly, I named it to, alright, I think this is right, or not. Alright, it's already crashing. Because, okay, so here's the first problem. For some reason, and I don't know why, I decided to name the main file syscore. It's such like a weird choice, because I don't know, like, maybe I thought it sounded cool at the time. It literally makes no sense. I mean, main.py would have been fine. But okay, so what actually happened here is I had a copy of the main for reasons that I don't fully understand, so we just ran the wrong one. So it's actually this one that we want. Syscore, is it abbreviated for something? It's meant to be system core. I believe that was what I was going for at the time. Yeah, but okay, so here's the game. We have a little loading screen. Now, I don't know why, like, as you can tell, alright, I had a really small monitor at the time. So that was part of the issue. Also, you can't resize it. It's impossible. So that's the first problem. Now, the second problem is that for some reason, when I designed this game, when you start, your ant is close to dying, like, instantly. So, yeah, what has actually happened here is I have ended up in the hospital within, like, you know, a fraction of a second of starting the game. But if we go into the overworld outside of the anthill, you can see that things are, like, more or less pretty normal here. We have the hospital, and now the purpose of this game is that you're an ant, and I know that the the resolution is really cursed right now, but it's okay. We'll fix that later. And the purpose of it is that you can pick up leaves. So I can pick up this one by pressing the space bar, and the idea is that you collect leaves and you eat them, basically. So if I press E, or not, I don't even remember how to play this. What was the eating again? Okay, maybe it is E. Yeah, this game is super buggy, that's another problem. I see you were obsessed with palaces. Yeah, so, okay. Now, the other mechanic, quote-unquote mechanic of this game, is the ability to, I guess, engage in the real estate, okay? And I died again. This game is just complete. I really don't understand what I was thinking with this. I think it's just, there was no internet at the time where I was from, so I didn't really understand what I was doing, which definitely contributed to it. Anyway, as I was saying, the other mechanic, quote-unquote mechanic of this game, is that you can engage in the real estate industry. So you can see here we have some houses that are for sale. I mean, we have an anthill that's for sale, and we also have an anthill that is for rent. And if I remember correctly, you can rent and buy these homes. Now, if we go inside, which I'm pretty sure you can. Okay, so yeah, if you're wondering what this black square is, so the purpose of the black square, as in the transparent square that's hovering over everything, the intended purpose of it is that it's supposed to make the anthill darker, which makes sense if you have a very small monitor, which I don't anymore. I believe if I turn the lights on, which I left this very useful, can barely even read it. So the main switch is you press L to turn the lights on. As you can see, you turn the light, okay, and I died again. Why is it's so hard? Alright, that's fine, no problem. We're gonna go into a different home. Ant World is so good. Yeah, I know, this is just... Best game ever made. Game of the year, easily. Okay, I don't see... Now I really don't understand what's happening. I entered a home, an anthill, and now there's another ant that's like locked to my position. Anyway, as I was saying, when you turn the lights on, the lamps turn on, and I guess the home is illuminated now. And this furniture, you can actually purchase it at the furniture store, which for whatever reason I called Furniture Palace. And that was wherever that was. I don't know, somewhere around here near the General Hospital, I guess, where you put furniture stores. Yeah, so this would be the furniture store here. You can see that they're overlapped in a very realistic way. And I died again. You see, it's just the most terrible. I think I just never played it. I think that was the problem. Yeah, so if you're wondering about the gas, there are cars in this game that you can drive. In fact, you can actually purchase vehicles. So that was a mechanic that I decided to add. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the dealership is down here somewhere. So here it is, Ant World Car Sales. And yeah, it's a little bit outside of my budget right now. It would be nice to see how much money I have. Unfortunately, it's hidden in a part of the screen that we can't see because the window is too big. Because I didn't know how to size stuff correctly back then. But yeah, there are Leaf cars. In fact, you can actually buy a Leaf trailer. I don't know what the point of that was exactly. I think the point of it was to, I guess, haul more stuff. I don't know. Okay, and I guess I'm dead again. All right, now here's a funny like glitch in the game. So I died, and I ended up in the hospital, which is you know, not that weird, I guess. But notice how I ended up in the Ant World Correctional Facility Medical Center. So you can actually get arrested and go to jail in this game. And this is the jail. And I guess I thought it would be really cool and really realistic if when you get arrested, you get sent to jail. And it's not like, you know how in GTA, there's like a cutscene, you end up at the front door of the police station, then you just... all your guns are gone and stuff like that. I decided that was not hardcore enough for me, so the way that I programmed it is that if you get arrested, you get sent to jail, and you literally can't leave or do anything until you've served your sentence. So, and like this is just all you get. Like I guess I can't go in here because I'm not in jail, but if I was allowed to go in here, it would just be a cell with nothing in it, and that's all you can do. Alright, so let's take a look at what else there is to see here. Alright, so we have the typical typos. Do have an eye on the stock market, why not join it? Excellent question. See, I didn't actually understand what the stock market was at that time. So, okay, and I died again. This is gonna happen very frequently, until of course we port this game and fix all of these problems. Alright, so the other feature that I decided to add, which is still a little bit perplexing to me, is the Ant World Walk-In Motel, which apparently has vacancy, so that's good. Now, I know that this seems really, you know, really weird when you kind of understand the context. I did not understand this context at the time. This motel is not charged on a nightly basis, it's charged per hour, which has certain connotations today, or I mean connotations at any point in history, to be honest. Yes, there are property permits. So that was sort of like the mechanic that I thought was cool at the time, and it makes sense because at the time that I was making this game, I was in the process of securing permits in real life. It's a bit of a long story, but basically I was making plans and we were having an an addition built onto our home, and I was making the plans for that and getting the permits. I don't know why I was doing this when I was 13, but yeah, I don't think the permit office knew about that, but we got the permits, so everything worked out fine. But anyway, my point is that was what was on my mind at the time. And so the idea is that you buy these properties, then you have to get a permit, and then you get a company to come and dig the hole for you. So I'm sure that we'll pass the sign for that at some point. But yeah, when you get it ported, can you release it to Patreon releases? Well, that depends highly on how far we actually get into this implementation. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I am supposed to be working on Engine Simulator. But yeah, maybe whatever we have at the end of the 2 to 3 day live stream, I'll probably post it for my Patreon supporters. All right, now for some reason, I guess the tool tips all appear at the same time in a random place. That's a nice feature, I guess. All right, now there is one more thing that I want to take a look at. And you know what? I think I'm going to make some code changes here because the game, I just can't see anything. So I'm sure there is somewhere in the game where we can change the resolution. Like, it has to be somewhere. So there's just so much random stuff. All right, maybe we'll start off in syscore. Where even is? Okay, there we go. All right, everyone get ready because we're gonna start looking at this code here. Immediately, it's just completely baffling. I mean, I don't know how many of you here are programmers, but yeah. All right, so we got this mystery function called I. I don't even know, like, what does this even do? Also, can you guys see this okay? I can zoom in a little bit if it's not visible. Yeah, def, it just means that you're defining a function. Alright, so what are we dealing with here? Okay, so I guess this was my resolution at the time. I had a 1280 by 1024 monitor. Nice. I still remember that monitor. And I guess the screen size is passed in. I don't know where that happens. Okay, so I guess it's here. So, okay. I guess I left this comment presumably because that was the intended resolution. Why did I even do this? Alright, so if we do this, does that change anything? Okay, so I believe this was the intended resolution of the game. It's so small. Alright, but as you can see, there actually is a user interface. It just wasn't visible before. Yeah. Yeah, this was, these were some interesting times. But you can see that everything looks like it scales better now, at least. How did I use a monitor this small? That's so crazy. Alright, so, but anyway, yeah, there is, apparently I had a CPU usage. Nice. We got those engine simulator gauges. I don't know, what does this even mean? Like, what does 45 mean? 45 out of what? And why are the numbers so random? Alright, I don't know. Yeah, 45 miles an hour on your CPU. Also, the hunger bar goes down so fast. I guess this must have been just a development version because I start off with so much money. And there is a time. The date is 000. Okay. And there is also a phone. I forgot to mention that. So you use your phone to like call the various companies that you need in the game. Okay, so that's cursed. How do I even get it back? Like, it just disappears and then, okay, whatever. Alright, but yeah, this was the resolution that I intended the game to be played, I guess. Either that or, I don't know, I guess the tooltip works now. You are now in the hospital. So, I mean, it does give you, like, some information. Yeah, it's the GTA of ant games. Yeah, the animation is terrible. I think what I did was I went into Illustrator and I like moved the arms around a little bit, and that's what I came up with. Okay, so also, this is an interesting detail. Again, I don't really know what I was thinking with this, but these leaves here are, for all intents and purposes, they're drugs, okay? I don't know why I added drugs to this game, but if you eat this leaf, stuff starts happening to your ant, and apparently there's a lot in this place. So if I eat this, basically the more you eat, okay, so as you can see, the ant is becoming intoxicated. Let's see if I eat another one. Yeah, check that out. Look at these, look at this epic, I don't know what kind of drugs this is, but yeah. Anyway, so I guess I'm in the hospital now, detoxing from my little experience there, my drug experience. Yeah, this is how my 13-year-old brain comprehended drugs. It's something that makes your vision go weird and you start dancing around. So, needless to say, I did not have a lot of experience with drugs at the time. Yeah, peak drug experience. Okay, now, there's a lot more to see in this game, but we're not gonna go through everything right now, but there is one more feature that I feel like I have to show you guys, okay? So as I was saying before, you can drive in this game. You can purchase vehicles, and there are different vehicles to drive. For some reason, I left a garbage truck in this corner of the world. Not sure why, but it exists. And you can drive it, and it does make noise. Now, I don't know if we're actually going to recreate the audio because it's so bad. But in a weird way, all right, this was the first ever engine sound that I made, and of course I died again. All right, let's go back to where I was before. Yeah, this was the first ever game car engine sound that I ever made. And it's not good. It's really not good. Anyway, so what was the key to get in? Was it space? Okay, it is space. All right, so we got a steering wheel. It's not centered, probably because I'm not using the right resolution. I don't remember the exact resolution of my monitor. All right, so I believe now we have an odometer, and we have, it's probably hard for you guys to see, but I'll tell you what is visible here. We have an RPM gauge, we have a speedometer, gas, oil, I guess, and an odometer, and I guess we have park, drive, reverse, and if I remember correctly, I think does it include a full-fledged engine simulation? Definitely not. Pretty much the exact opposite of that. Now, if I remember correctly, I think the E key is to start the vehicle. So, here we go, I guess. Or not. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, it's not good, okay? Yeah. I know the loop is just flawless, right? I mean, the quality of this sound effect, it's yeah, those were all mouth-based sound effects for sure, 100%. I don't remember exactly, but I didn't have any microphone other than like just the microphone that was in my laptop. So, yeah, maybe we can adjust the volume down. I don't remember what it sounds like when you drive it. I guess this is the game here. Alright, let's try this again. So, it's space. That starter, though. It's so good. Why is it not starting? Or maybe I have to hold it? Oh, there we go. That's so good. Alright, and I think if I press D, that puts it in drive. Oh, that steering wheel action. It's so good. What was I thinking with this? Like, so confused. Yeah, the RPM could have been more realistic. Now, I don't want to run over any ants because you do get in trouble for doing that. Why is it so loud? I always complain about games being too loud, and, like, I was part of the problem, apparently. Can you run ants over? I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can. At least you can't hear it when you're inside. Alright. Let's just run over this ant. How does this work? I feel like I may have made a okay, never mind. Alright, so, yeah. Anyway, as you can see, it's basically just like GTA in every possible way. You know, it's, now, if I had the toolbar, I might be able to see what my wanted level is, but I don't have it. I don't know how to get it back because it doesn't scale properly. But yeah, if you get arrested after murdering some ants with a garbage truck, you will be sent to jail. And yeah, that's Ant World. Clearly the best game ever made. Is that a weed leaf? No. So, if I remember correctly, this is an oak leaf. I don't know what this one is. I know this is some sort of maple leaf or whatever. I really need to make it so that you don't die every, like, 2 seconds. Also, I don't think any of these assets ever get, like, erased from the map. They just kind of are there, and then they never go away. I think also the rocks spawn in a similar way. So if you leave this game open for a long time, it just ends up being completely filled with rocks. So, yeah, that's another interesting feature that I added. Yeah, that's the big white rock in its natural habitat. Now, alright, so you can clearly see the GTA influence here because I wanted to make it so that there were like multiple cities in the game that you could go to. And if we go, I think you have to go... Like I just drove right off the road like a maniac. Will you implement map DLCs? Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be getting any DLCs for this game. I'm just gonna be real here. Yeah, this is basically feature creep, the game. If you could make a game that was about feature creep, this would be that game. But yeah, if you keep walking down this... Alright, so... Yeah, we have like a little town here, population of 9 zeros with a 3 at the end. I don't know, maybe I thought that was like a stylistic decision. I don't know what I was thinking with that. The blue ant, which you can probably barely see, is a police officer. And, yeah, Diesel, exactly. Yeah, the AI is terrible. You know, it kind of works, but it mostly doesn't. Okay, so this is the final place that we're going to look at in the game, of course, and right after we get out of the hospital for dying for the 18th time. So this is sort of like the city in the game, I guess. We have the Ant World Stock Exchange, you know, because I thought that would have been a cool feature. If we go inside of the stock exchange, what is this game? So, I guess you buy stocks. I don't know how this works. Okay, how does this work? Press X to enter a stock to invest in. Okay. Alright, so... I actually made a keyboard? What? I don't remember this. There's actually an in-game keyboard. This is the randomest thing ever. Is the phone implemented or is it just an image? It does work. It is a phone. I don't remember what you can call exactly, but it definitely works. Maybe we'll try it in a second. Honestly, probably all of this is broken. Okay, so this at least does something. So does press the equal key. I mean, that works. So press 1 to purchase the stock. Okay. I guess I own stock now. How do you even keep track of it? It's just... I don't know. I think it's just, I thought they were cool features and I added them without even thinking about gameplay. Because, like, how do you even know what stocks you have? There's just not visible anywhere. Yeah, user interface design, pretty stellar, not gonna lie. I'm pretty proud of this. Maybe my best work. Alright, so that's the 20th time we've died so far. Now, yeah, we were gonna try out the phone, so there's a conspiracy theory that it's just an image. I promise, it's real, okay? So if we press K to enter a number, we have this, but now I can't actually see. I don't think the mouse works either. How do I exit? Okay, I guess I just exit the game. Hold on, let's just restart this. So I want to just make sure that it actually does something. I want to be able to see the phone number, so if I call this, it's 555. I'm calling the hospital, which I just got out from, apparently. Okay, wait. And so this should be theoretically the hospital's phone number. I mean, it's even got caller display or callee display, I guess, depending on how you look at it. So if I call, what happens? Alright, there's a call dialogue. Hello, this is the Antworld General Hospital. How may I help you? There's like no question mark. Yeah, apparently I didn't speak English back then either. Available phrases. Oh, we even have like, okay. So I can either say locations, services, or I can just end the call. Okay, so probably, alright, what are your services? What kind of services does a hospital offer? We currently offer free medication and healthcare at every location. Nice. So that means we can get free medication. That's such a weird, like, it's weird because, usually medication is the thing that's not free. At least, depending on how you define free and where you're located. Alright, fine. What are your locations then? We have a location in North Leaf Town, Mid Standling County, and West Ant City. Alright, good to know, I guess. But yeah, the phone works, so... You know, kind of, I guess. Yeah, we get free ant drugs in this game. I mean, it literally grows on the ground, so I don't see... Like, you don't even need really to get it at the hospital, but... If you're a real junkie, you can just go to the hospital and get free medication. That was the first thing they said. It's like they're expecting it. They're just like, what are your services? We have free medication. Alright, where's the free medication? I like how it's not even here either. Is there an ant parliament? I don't think so. I don't think so. Alright, so, yeah, anyway, that, I think that's more or less the gist of the game. I don't think there's anything else that is that fascinating to look at. It's just really terrible. If you want a hole dug, the Bronzeworth Digging Company comes to you. So, yeah. You gotta, like, call the thing, and then... It's a whole thing. Alright, so that's Antworld. How are we for time here? Alright, we're 30 minutes into the stream, no problem. Alright, so as you can see, the code is just... I don't know if this means anything to you guys, but this is perplexing. Perplexing to say the least. This code is completely meaningless. Like, why... It's just an infinite loop that prints type error, which I don't even know if that's printable. So, yeah. 10 out of 10. Best programming. Can we make that code a sticker? I don't know if you want that. It's just like... It's just this whole thing is so bad. Anyway, we're gonna have to go pretty deep into this code in order to actually re-implement this game, unfortunately. There are certain things that I'm probably not going to implement, like saving. So the way that I did saving was probably the most degenerate thing I've ever heard of. We'll look at that later. So how does this work? Okay, so this is the main game loop. That's what I'm gathering anyway. And we have a garbage bag. What? This must have been like a test or something. I don't know what this was for. Okay, so this is where I guess the cars spawn in. And I guess this is where the rocks spawn. This is so weird. Okay, so yeah, this is where the Leafs. Wait, why does this always spawn at the same location? That must have been why there was like a stack of these drug leaves in a specific place. Well, I mean, that explains that, I guess. Alright, what else do we have here? So this was... I guess this is to keep track of the frame timer, probably. And this appears to be the code that renders the map. Okay, I mean, it's all pretty straightforward, I guess. We have a loading screen. Alright. Okay, so that's fine. I think probably the worst file that is going to take a while for us to go through when we actually get to implementing it is going to be... Where even is this now? I think it might have been called World. Yeah, World Creation. Alright, this is definitely a file. It's one of the files of all time. So I believe this is where the world itself is actually put together. I don't know what any of this is for. You know it's good when you start seeing a bunch of commented code everywhere. Alright, so we have... Okay, so this is where the garbage truck is spawned in. Okay, so yeah, this basically just puts the world together. These magic numbers are excellent. Absolutely perfect. I guess you didn't believe in folders. I guess not. Apparently not. So, okay. I guess, why does this spawn in, like, just specific ants? I guess are they just, maybe the NPCs don't spawn randomly. I don't even remember. I like how as you scroll down, the magic numbers just get more and more degenerate. Like... Okay, so... There's more ants. I mean, overall, like, it's definitely not complicated, it's just a little bit tedious. There's like 1,000 lines of code in this file. How do I code in a little box that shows the player's FPS? I can't seem to get it right. What is the player's FPS? We lost 30 people. Yeah, there's gonna probably be like 10 people by the end of this stream. That's fine. I'm not complaining. It's not gonna be the most fascinating stream of all time. Just a warning to everyone. Alright. So I think that's a pretty decent review of the game. There's not really too much else to look at. I think we just need to start implementing this now. Now, I'm not gonna make any real updates to the game. We're just gonna try to re-implement it, get rid of most of the crazy bugs that make it unplayable, and call it a day, pretty much. Alright, so let's do that, I guess. Okay, so we're going to open a terminal here, and the fun is going to begin. So, we're going to be using Engine Simulator's game engine for this, and I have already implemented sort of like a template project, because it just would have been way too boring to watch me put that together. I believe I made a folder for this here. Alright, so this is the folder that we're going to be using. This is all the stuff that we need to run the old version of Ant World. So this is where my Python 2.7 implementation is and things like that. And this is the original game folder here in all of its degeneracy. And over here is where we're going to actually create our new game. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to probably need to do this on Chrome here. This is on my second screen, so don't worry if you don't see anything. I just don't want to accidentally like leak my password or something. Not that that's very likely, but... Alright, so I believe over here somewhere I have my template project, which we're going to clone. Alright, there we go. Alright, and now we have a game project. I don't know if you guys, if you guys can't see or my screen is too small, just let me know and I'll try to resize things. Alright, and we will move into this folder here. Alright, and we have to update the submodules. And I think that the way to do this would be like this. Alright, there we go. Everything is cloned. Make the build directory. And now we will build the project. Alright, seems to all be working fine. I literally just, like, I've never actually used this game engine to make a game, so it's entirely possible that we're gonna run into, like, issues that we're gonna fix, but it's all part of the fun of doing this live, I guess. Alright, but this all seems fine. Nothing, nothing too problematic. Yeah, we're probably gonna leak at least a little bit of source code, but that's fine. It's just the game engine. It's nothing really that fascinating. Alright, so now we have a template project. And let me make sure. So the shader compilation is turned on. I think this should probably be fine. We just have to build this. Alright, this is going to take maybe about 1.5 minutes, and also we now have our console clock, which I guess I should probably explain. Let me close this so that my overlay actually works properly, or at least semi-properly. Alright, there we go. You're going to have no idea what I'm talking about unless you're watching this on YouTube. So basically, this clock here is going to track our progress on the game, or more specifically, how much time we've actually put into this. When did the stream start? We started about an hour ago, I think. Alright, so this clock is designed to keep track of what I'm doing at all times. So what it's telling me now is that it's paused because, according to the clock, I'm not actually doing anything. So, but watch, if I go into my editor, you can see that it now thinks that I'm actually doing something, I'm actually active, and the timer starts. This is a very strict timer, so if I'm idle for too long, or if I'm no longer, like if I, move over to this window, you can see that it pauses immediately. And this is our line counter, so this is probably mostly shaders right now. It claims that our project is about 550 lines of code. And yeah, this is visible in the overlay on YouTube. Alright, and it is built. So that actually took a little bit less time than I was expecting. So, just to be clear, that did not build the game. That actually built the entire game engine and all of the other stuff that is needed for the game engine. Because pretty much all of this code is mine. There's very little linking to any other external dependencies. So yeah, basically all of the code for the game engine is built from scratch along with the game. And we can actually make modifications to the game engine while we're working on the game. So that's another convenient thing. Guys, it's my bedtime. Can we pause the stream until tomorrow? I mean, I don't know if it works like that. I would love to, but We got a lot of people here. This is going to be boring if I explain everything. Well, okay, tell me what you guys want, because if I feel like if I stop talking, then it'll be even more boring. How are you doing today? Excellent. We are doing excellent. Alright, let's start this here. Alright, so we'll give it a second to compile all the shaders, and there we go. So this is our initial game project that we have here. How many bugs will be in this game? About bugs, preferably 0. But yeah, we have a cylinder, so this is basically what the template project starts off with. So nothing too complicated. But yeah, you should be able to run this at, is that a tube? Yeah, it's a limited length of tube. Add VSync. Well, the thing with VSync is that it's not really controlled by the game. I just have it disabled on my computer. If I enabled it, this would just VSync normally. Alright, so yeah, regarding the other point about this being super boring if I explain everything, I actually don't intend to explain everything. Probably for the remainder of the stream, it's going to be mostly just me programming, and you know, maybe I'll talk occasionally. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it because I haven't done a stream like this before, so I have to gauge, you know, what works and what doesn't. Will there be ray tracing? Probably not. Probably not, unfortunately. Yeah, we got that 1080 Ti. I don't know how many people have suggested that I get better hardware. It like makes no difference to me. What do you know about PCs? Not much, I guess. Alright, let's, anyway, in any case, we're going to actually get to work here. We're going to start programming. Alright, so I think the most logical place to start is we have to figure out how this game is structured. I believe that the original idea was that we had a game object, and that was sort of like a base class, I guess. Or I guess I called it game entity. I don't know, maybe I thought that was cooler. So this is the code that we're going to have to re-implement here. Okay. The 1080 Ti definitely supports Vulkan for sure. Otherwise, I would have a lot of questions about how my game engine is actually working. Okay, so what's going on here? We have a world, we have a reference to it. I guess we have an image. Okay, so this is like, I guess the specific sprite that the entity uses. We have a brain, which is called a state machine. Okay. I don't know what this is for. Okay, I mean, it's all like pretty straightforward, I guess. Alright. So first things first. Actually, I have to figure out what the, what is the background color? I have no idea where that's even set, to be honest. Maybe here? Or maybe it's in the world, actually. I wish I had a time machine to like go back in time and ask myself where a lot of this is. Because I definitely was not smart enough to put like some sort of parameter to change the color. It's definitely just a magic number hidden somewhere deep in the game, which we need to find now. Either that or I could just I'm just gonna like sample it directly. I don't know if I have time to do this. Alright, let's just do it this way. Okay. Probably just do this in, not this one, probably Photoshop. Yeah, I don't think I understood parameters, so there's definitely no text file anywhere that has all of this important information. I forgot about that part, or I didn't realize that it would be important. Alright, there we go. So this is apparently the color. Pretty, so we will just change the game to clear to this color, just to make things easier. Alright, and I believe that is here somewhere. Alright, there we go. Also, let me disable this. Alright, so now we have the game clearing to the right color. The cylinder, we'll just keep it for now, but we're gonna remove that later, obviously. Okay. You should make your game engine hot reload compatible. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's strictly necessary for what we're doing, but it would be cool, I guess. Alright, now the next step is we have to change the camera mode because by default it's a turntable. We just want like a normal overhead camera probably, which I have already implemented, so we'll just use that. Or maybe Visual Studio will just interrupt what I'm doing for no reason. Put this down here. Alright. Okay, so and then I don't need, I'll just set this to 0. Why do you have a custom console? That's just, it's just displays text on the screen, like the frame counter and stuff like that. It's nothing really too complicated. Alright, so let's see, is it gonna just show nothing? Okay, we got nothing, nice. Nice, okay. Alright, now this is probably my least favorite part of programming stuff, which is right at the beginning, when you don't actually know why nothing is showing up on the screen. It's usually pretty easy to figure out though. Alright, so we got the camera controller. I guess I have it probably too close. Alright, is this gonna... Wait, that's still broken. Maybe if I set this FOV here. Literally anything with more cores would be an upgrade. Maybe. I mean, it's not that I don't want to upgrade it. I don't want to upgrade it, mainly because I just want to have a more realistic development environment. That's kind of the only purpose of that. Okay, so now we have something actually showing, that's fine. Now, I don't remember, this is the other thing, the scale of the game is really weird. So, I don't know, I guess we would have to use consistent units probably. So, probably we want like 800 units maybe, or maybe 1024 units as our field of view. I'll make it so that you can actually zoom in and stuff. And I think that should all be fine. Well, I'm not necessarily trying to develop for the low-end specs because my CPU is not really even that low-end. I think it kind of equates to like your average CPU now. I mean, it was fast in maybe 2017, but it's obviously not that fast anymore. Okay. What CPU do you have? It's a 8700K. i7 8700K. Alright, there we go. And let's just make this a bit bigger here. Alright, I think this is fine. So basically what we've done here is we now have the overhead camera controller, which is pretty much all we need for this game because it's just an overhead game. And I know it's not really that visible, but you can see that we have the cylinder that's kind of being rendered now. And the next task, I guess, is we have to start rendering actual ants, for lack of a better word. Alright, and in order to do that, I'm going to try out, so I've written some scripts, which I think will help with this process. Let's see if they actually work. So, I'm going to create a new file. I'm just going to copy more or less exactly what is in the original game. So the first class that we're going to implement is called GameEntity. I was just looking at it. Alright, there we go. By the way, we're going to be streaming for about 2 more hours. And then after that, there's going to be a few hours in between, and then we're going to resume after that point. Also, let's make sure that our clock is working. Alright, so apparently we've put 6 minutes of work into this. Alright, and let me just... So this should... Yeah, I do have, so all of these scripts are kind of new, so I haven't really like ironed out all of the details of them. Also, I think we should probably rename this. That would probably be a good idea. Alright, so we're gonna do... I'm just gonna go and like replace this here. Just because I don't want that to interfere with any of my scripts. Okay, there we go. Did you say why VS is an SDK? Visual Studio is not an SDK, it's an IDE. Alright, and this should allow us to add a new file. Just see if this works here. Include, and then, I don't know, it makes sense as a folder for this. Okay. Alright, this is the moment of truth. Is my script actually gonna work? I think it did. Alright, so yeah, we got a file. Everything's been added. Excellent. It was really annoying to add files before. I mean, it's not that bad, but I just didn't want to subject people to watching me mess around with files. Alright, and then if we rebuild this, we should have our new entity file. You know Visual Studio can add source files to CMake project? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but it's entirely possible. The thing is that I find that the built-in Visual Studio stuff for things like that is not the best all the time. Okay. Oh yeah, the other issue is that I renamed the project, so this is actually not going to work anymore. We need to open this one. Yeah, my statement was really not a technicality. An SDK is completely different from an IDE. But if you want to know why I use Visual Studio, I guess I'm just used to it. I mean, I don't really care that much. It just works for me, and that's about all that I care about. It has good debugging tools, and I find that it doesn't really have too many issues. Like, it doesn't have just random glitches constantly or anything like that. All right, let's do this here. So we're gonna implement our game entity class here. This is gonna go on my second monitor. Yeah, you can use the whole glob method, but it's not considered to be a best practice for whatever reason. I think I'm just calling this game. Not the best namespace ever, but that's fine. Okay. And then I think... I'm just gonna go... Basically, I'm just gonna derive our game entity directly from the object, which should be fine for our purposes. Alright, so we have a reference to... world, okay. So yeah, for some reason, I really liked naming stuff world at this time. So we're gonna have to add another one of those, or we're gonna have to add another file for that. Okay. I mean, basically, OpenGL can be referred to as an SDK. Like, an SDK is just a software development kit. It could be anything, like DirectX came with an SDK, which was just like a bunch of tools and stuff like that. But, yeah. I don't know if OpenGL is technically more of an API than an SDK. Alright, so we now have our world here, which I'm just going to, I'm basically just going to treat it the same way. Alright, now, if I remember correctly, most of the actual processing in the game takes place in the world, so... I'm just going to try to copy more or less what is in there. For some reason, I named this file world utils. I have no idea why. I guess because it's not really a utility, it's just the world, so. Alright, so what is in here? Screen size. That seems kind of degenerate. I don't know why the whole user interface is in the world. Alright, so this is for controlling... Okay, that's for controlling the day and night cycle. Okay. Going Y past cell, yeah. Yeah, I'm really wondering what I was thinking with a lot of this. It's an interesting exercise into, I don't know, I guess looking into how I used to think. Clearly my understanding of programming was extremely primitive. So what is all this? Combine, stop combining? I guess this is related to property. Alright, so this is for the timer. And we have some basic stuff to order things. The player is considered separately. Alright, that's fine. So, want this. Basically, I'm just making like some sort of world class here that keeps track of all the entities that we have. Technically, the game engine already does this, but I have a feeling that it's gonna do some other weird stuff separately. Alright, that's fine. Okay, and now the way that images are handled is a little bit different. I mean, that's the only thing that's really preventing us from drawing anything at this point. So how does that work? This is so... What is even happening? The AI is so cursed. Like, why am I mapping strings to strings and like... Alright, thanks for joining, Queso. I'm sure you're the real Queso. We'll see how this goes. Alright, we'll get to the ant class later. I almost don't even want to, like, look at this anymore, because it's hurting my brain. So what we're actually interested in is the game entity. Because my assumption is that I probably added some default code just to render. Okay, so it was here. Alright, so how does this work? So we have an image list. I guess that's for the purpose of animation. This is our location. This is where we render the image. And I guess I was trying to render it centered. Alright, that's all fine. Okay, so probably the easiest way to do this is I already added a class for basically just like rendering images. So I think that's just what we're gonna do here. And I guess also there is a list of images, which is kind of important. Alright, so what is R? I don't I guess, okay, maybe, okay, I see. I think, okay, so R is rotation. Interesting, okay. That's a really weird way of doing it, but, fine. Alright, so yeah, this is just more complicated than it needs to be. I don't know why is, like, I pass in an image list. So this has to be the index of the image. Wait, that doesn't make sense, because here I'm getting the size, so that... What on earth? So this is probably not a list. I would assume this had to be a dictionary of some kind. I feel like 99% of this live stream is going to be me trying to figure out why my code from 15 years ago makes no sense. Okay, so this happens. We have an image list. Okay, it just goes back to the insect class, I guess. In math, R means radius. Yeah, well, apparently I didn't know that at the time, because R does not appear to stand for radius in this program. It seems to stand for rotation. Alright, so how does this work? You render here. Okay, so yeah, clearly it is rotation, so I got that right at least. But what is this image list? I just, like, what's the point of passing in a list of images? And why are these, why are these mapped like that? So this is when you're carrying something, it takes in... Okay, maybe this is actually a master list, potentially. Even though that also doesn't really make sense either. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, just to be clear, this was my first ever game, so I'm not, you know, I'm not being... You know, I'm not upset about my terrible code from the past. It's just funny to see, like, how much a person can evolve over that span of time, if you see what I'm saying. Check your project timer, it's not updating. Yeah, so I think actually I don't have it set up to recognize this as me working. So it actually just thinks that I'm not doing anything. So maybe I should update that. If we go to this should be fairly straightforward. Alright, so this is correct. This is my, like, really basic configuration file here. Okay, so the executable, I'm pretty sure for Visual Studio is... Let's see, what is it called? code.exe. Yeah, so I think I actually already have it. Okay, also, what is going on? Something is glitching out my computer. Okay, I guess it's fine now. I don't know, maybe I do need... yeah, I got viruses from my old game. Maybe I do need to upgrade my CPU. Maybe all the haters were right. Okay, so I think the problem is that this needs to be updated. So... Ant World Final, we can probably add that. Actually, just to make sure that this doesn't misbehave, I'm just going to replace these spaces here. Yeah, either that or Windows issue. That also wouldn't be something surprising. Okay, and we'll update this to just Ant World. And we can do this here. Now, theoretically, this should capture the right stuff. Okay, so yeah, it's capturing Visual Studio, and it is capturing code. Excellent. Alright, so it should be fixed now. Okay, so where was I? I have to reopen all that stuff. We were in game entity. I was trying to figure out this whole image list business. I mean, it probably doesn't matter because it's probably like the most irrelevant thing ever, but... My audio sounds like it's maxed out. I don't know, does anyone else hear that, or... It shouldn't be, but sometimes Discord does weird stuff. So that could also be the problem. Alright, so the issue here is that I just want to understand what this does before because this is like really simple to implement, but I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. There's something mysterious about how this image list works, and I'm trying to figure out what my intention was. I'm trying to figure out what my intention was so we can actually implement it correctly. Now, if I go back to insect, I really should have organized this beforehand. Probably would have made my life a bit easier. I like how I just called this hippie pillow. Interesting. Alright, so here's the insect. So this, I guess, is the... Oh, I see. Okay, I think... This is another reason why I don't like Python. It just... I know modern Python is different, but like... Historically, or most like Python scripts that you see in the wild, they don't really tell you what type everything is supposed to be, so I have no idea if this is an actual image, or I know this is an image name. Okay, so I'm passing in the image name into the game entity class. And what does that do here? So this is the image name. Okay, I store it as this. And then I do some kind of cursed stuff here to create a split image name. But then the image is also just the image name. Okay, so I'm gathering that this is probably... Okay, I see. Alright, I think I understand now. I understand what 14-year-old me was trying to do. Okay, so yeah. What this has to be is it has to be a map from an image name to an image. Like a dictionary. I'm assuming that I did it that way because I didn't want to reload the images. It's just, this is just such a weird way of doing it. And also, image list is a very misleading name. Because Especially in Python, like, it's not even a list, which is the most hilarious part of it. Okay, so that's fine. That's all fine. So we can just go ahead and implement the render class now, or the render function. I'm just gonna like steal my old code, probably from the cylinder maybe, or actually I don't even need to do that now that I think about it. All I have to do is I just have to create the image object. Are you remaking an old game? Yes, that is what we're doing. All right, and I'm gonna go over to, where is it? Over here. Alright, we already got brawls breaking out. Everyone just take a breather, okay? This is a peaceful place. This is a calm and peaceful environment that we're having, or that we're trying to create here. Okay, now technically I don't have to do anything with this, I just have to create the image itself. Alright, and let's do this. Alright, so now we have the image, and I guess the final thing is that we have to be able to set which image we want. Alright, let's start bringing over the assets from the game. Now, I think it would probably make sense, because this is an ant game, to start with one of the ants. So that's what we're gonna do. Ant World is a violent place filled with drugs, police, and yeah, I mean... yeah, maybe that's the problem. It's all these violent video games, they're ruining our kids. Okay, so we'll take... I guess I just had a 2-cycle animation for this. I think that was it, honestly. I don't think there's anything else. Alright, that's fine. I'm gonna try to organize things in an actual folder, but... Alright, so this is gonna go into our assets here. Alright, there we go. Do you have an ant model in your forgotten C++ ant world? Yeah. So I did sort of port this game a little bit in the past, but it was not meant to really be a port. It was supposed to be like a clean rewrite with the same concept. But I didn't really get too far in that project, and then I got busy with Engine Simulator, so I never returned to it. Alright, now we're going to load all of our assets here. Alright, and this should be located assets, and I'm just going to keep all the images of the same name with the same name, even though they should probably be renamed realistically. I just don't want to confuse myself later. Alright, actually I have this backwards. I think also the convention that I used in Ant World is that I just went by the image name itself, so maybe I'll just do the same thing here. Alright, there we go. Now we have our images loaded. And we want them to be displayed over here, which I think this should already do. Alright, now the final thing that we want here can't type today for some reason. So I want to set this size to, I think we're just going to use the actual pixel size of the image, which is not necessarily the best way of doing it, but that's fine. So we want this. Right. Yeah, the assets in this game are real old school in a bad way. They're like not even good old school. It's just, it's like Flash games, but actually kind of worse. All right, and I guess we need to include this. And then I don't actually, this would probably be a good thing to add to the game engine now that I'm looking at it. You can't get the size of the texture assets without doing weird stuff. Maybe I'll add that later. So we want to get the image data, because this is for sure not the right way to do this, but that's fine. That's another thing that I should add as a bit of a warning, is that I'm not necessarily going to be doing everything in the best way in this live stream, because we're trying to get this done as fast as possible. And also, this is just a straight port, so we're not really going to be like re-implementing anything in a lot of detail. Alright, okay, also, yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, I don't really like the way that I did that, because now you end up in a situation like this. Just, like, not the best. Anyway. We'll just hack our way through that, no problem. So, I have this as that. And then I guess this needs to be vector sized. Yeah, basically the purpose of this, I mean, I guess it's basically just to laugh at my old terrible code, and some of this footage is going to show up in my video, but I'm not sure exactly how much. If you don't know, you make stuff up. Yeah, easy. Alright, so why is this not cooperating with me? Which is exactly why I should not have implemented it this way. Let's see. Alright, what happens if I actually try to build this? Sometimes Visual Studio like lags behind with its errors. Coding exercise, yeah, there's going to be a lot of if statements that we're going to laugh at for sure. Yeah, so basically the issue here, and I don't really like the way that I implemented this in the new game engine, because basically in C++ you can do something called I guess it's called const overloading, but it just kind of is a bit of a pain, and it just doesn't cooperate all the time like you would expect. Because I'm doing this, and I mean, that seems to just not... also not want to cooperate. Yeah, the original game was written in Pygame, which is like SDL, but with a Python wrapper, pretty much. Alright, I'm just gonna destroy this because it's bothering me. We'll fix that later if we have time. Alright. Okay, so I think all of those issues are fixed now. I may or may not have just completely hacked them, but it's okay. We'll go back and fix that later. Now, we actually want to, I guess, fetch the texture, which could be useful. So that would be here. And oh, also, I need to do that too. And what did I call that again? I think it was just called, like, player or something. Yeah, it was called player image. Alright, so I think this should be more or less... It's funny how I just took, like, an unbelievable amount of code that was in the original Python, and it's like 3 lines of code. Kind of hilarious, but this should... I'm pretty sure this will basically just replace all of that. It's not really anything complicated anyway. And now we just need to actually create that object. We'll just do a test here. And we can replace our, well, we'll keep the cylinder for now. Okay. Alright, I think that... Alright, let's just see what happens. If it crashes, that's fine. That'll also be instructive, potentially. Or that could happen. Maybe I could just forget to set which program starts. Alright, we have an ant on the screen. We got the ant. The issue is that the scale is wrong because I must have used the wrong sizes. Let's just see if we can fix that. So what did I mess up? Okay. Classic mistake. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to do this. I could probably just use size. Is that accessible? I feel like I can just use size. This is kind of funny because I don't even know how to use my own game engine that well. So it's probably... Alright, I think this works. I'm pretty sure this works. Yeah, the game entity is generic. Alright, there we go. Now we have the right scale. And I think it's more or less the right size as well. I made it so that the screen actually kind of resizes correctly, which is more than what can be said about the original game. Yeah, we're making huge progress here. Alright, so we have the ant, that's fine. And yes, as I was saying before, the game entity is generic. I'm just initializing it with this temporarily. Okay, so yeah, it's hilarious how all of this random useless Python was just replaced by that small amount of code. Alright, so it makes sense to... Also, what time is it? Okay, we still got plenty of time. Yes, yeah, self.brain.think. Exactly. Okay, so what's on my timer? 28 minutes? Yeah, I'm also working super slow because my brain just doesn't work as fast when I'm streaming. But I feel like I'll get used to it once we get maybe like 10 hours into this. Yeah, everyone start bombarding me with feature requests now. And then I can just say it'll be released in 2069. Okay, anyway, I have to stop getting distracted. Alright, we can do this. We can focus here. Okay, so the next thing that would make sense is to look at the player because we want to have movement and things of that nature. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure this is the most cursed file in the program. It's just, I think I implemented basically everything in here. Like, okay, so here's the movement. So you can't move when you're asleep. That makes sense. Just uses left, right, up, and down. I might replace that with W, A, S, and D potentially, because it might be a bit less annoying. Okay, so... yeah, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just trying to internalize, like, because I know for sure that a lot of this can be simplified and just make my life easier. I'm just trying to understand, like, what the intention was behind the code, because it's basically just like reading someone else's code at this point. Okay, so I have a map here where I'm mapping a letter to a number. Interesting. So that is in order to get my rotation. So I guess the point of that is that I want to quantize the rotation to like 90-degree increments, I guess. Alright, we have normalization here, that's fine. Okay, so what happens here? If I'm not in a car, and the world is not paused, and if I'm not in a hole... then I do this. Okay. Oh, I see. So this is for... oh, man. This is for when the anthill digging truck is around, I guess? I don't... yeah, I'm assuming. But, like, what is this all about? Okay, anyway. So then we have... like, what? Process location? Alright, we're just gonna I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see that. We'll come back to that later. Cause I am confused. Okay, so we have this function called generate images. Do I even want to know what this does? Why am I generating images? That must be in the game entity class somewhere. Okay, interesting. Not only do we have magic numbers in this code base, we have magic lists. Oh, I see. It's because I didn't understand how... I didn't understand how to find out if something is even. Like, yeah, that must be it, because you could just do like a modulus, or you could even just do like an AND to figure this out. But, yeah. Okay, what's happening in the chat? Hey, Anj, remember the post... Wait, where is that? Remember the post where we chatted? I mean, I talk in Discord all the time, so... I don't remember every single interaction. If I'm honest. No offense or anything. A message for Anj reference. The very degenerate thread. We've had a few degenerate threads on this server, if I'm gonna be honest here. Add themes to Steam Engine Simulator. Okay, well, you know, one step at a time. We're working on an ant game right now. Okay, anyway, gotta get back to work here. So, if the property owner is self, if the property is for rent, and the property is not renting... Okay, I mean, this is all kind of straightforward, I guess. Alright, and, okay, this is interesting. So this is where we adjust the health. And for whatever reason, I decided that the way that you should do this is based on whether or not there's a key being pressed. Interesting decision there. So what happens here? Okay, so this is where you get sent to the hospital. And then I guess the purpose of this is to find the closest hospital, and then you get sent there. And then how much nesting is even happening here? So if the furniture is... Okay, for every piece of furniture in the hospital, if the name is bed, and it's not in use, and I'm not at the hospital, what is WFH? Is that work? It's not work from home. I didn't even know what that was at the time. Yeah, I guess this is where your stats get reset. I don't know why I did it here, because I probably duplicated this in many different places. So this is where you get the tooltip. You are now in the hospital. Okay. Okay, I mean, it's not, like, that bad, I guess. It's bad, but it's, you know, it could be worse, I guess. Alright. So this was the old rendering function. I'm just trying to figure out, like, I'm trying to plan in my head here, like, what is the path of least resistance to actually implement this? Chat became degenerate. Alright, well, that was... Honestly, I was expecting that to happen, like, 2 hours ago. Alright, well, I have a pretty good idea of what's happening here. The way that it's implemented is terrible, but okay, I mean, I was about to say that the variable names kind of make sense, but now I'm kind of changing my mind now, because what is this? Road.AAA. I guess... Was this like my way of implementing bounding boxes, but like just the terminology is weird? Okay. Anyway, so generally speaking, I do understand what is happening here. So let's, I guess, just start implementing that. First of all, we need to create an actual player class. I can use my super special script for that. Now, just type this in here. Alright, so that should give us our player, which it does work. I'm just waiting for this script to like completely fail at some point. Oh, also, okay, I forgot that I did not write a daily update for today. Okay, maybe it'll have to come out late. That's fine. Hopefully not too many of you got double pinged yesterday when my bot malfunctioned. I'm not sure why it did that. I think, I don't know. I'm not really, I don't really know that much about Discord bots, so. But it should be fixed now. I don't think that'll happen again. Why not talk about the daily update? I guess I could talk about it, but I mean, we're kind of doing it right now, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now we have the player, and I'm just gonna go ahead and copy and paste everything in here. Okay, so the important difference about the player is that it moves. So how did I implement that historically? I mean, I was just looking at it. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, I guess. We have left, right, up, and down. We have an orientation, which for some reason I decided to code as a letter. I mean, okay. And oh, so this, okay, so this is actually where the being high factors into it. So if you eat too many of those drug leaves, then this happens. I guess it just selects like a random orientation or something. Will there be a monthly live stream this week? I might have to reschedule it because I'm gonna be streaming for like many hours this week, so. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. We're just gonna implement the movement here. Alright, do this, and go back. I guess I have to, well, this is fine. Right, so now the player is a game entity, and we'll just do that. And right here is where we want to process the keyboard input. And I guess we also have to adjust our orientation. Now, I can think of better ways of doing it, but I don't want to make too much work for myself. So let me think here. Basically, if you press these keys, it sets your orientation to a particular direction, so that's all fine. I guess that was the reason for doing it that way. I mean, I could just set the angle. Alright. I might regret this decision later, but we're just going to do this. We're gonna do this a different way. I'm not sure exactly what the ramifications of this will be, but I'm just gonna make this into an enum here because I'm assuming that different entities might end up having like different orientations potentially. Also, I just wanted to match the original implementation as closely as possible, because if you start messing with stuff, then yeah, the porting is going to get a lot more difficult. Okay, so, and I guess I'll just default to up. guess also that means that here I can just change my image object's transform depending on the orientation. So what do I want here? I want a rotation matrix. I can maybe do this as well. Probably be a good idea to make this into something reusable, but that's fine. I have a question about a part on my car. Wondering, I mean, I'm not that, I know a little bit about mechanics, but I don't know if I'm really the best guy to help. I can try, though. So what was my convention for this? Probably up is 0, even though that's technically wrong. But, hold on, actually, let me check. So, what was my... I guess in the asset, when it's not rotated, it's pointing up. So, I guess that's what we're gonna go with. Okay, so down would be... Guess I could also do it this way. Alright. I think this should more or less match the old way of doing it. And then over here, I think this is also fine. Alright, there we go. So that will set our rotation. Now in the player class, alright, let me think. How is this gonna work? I believe we can get the... get the game engine from here, or I guess I can just get a reference to the keyboard directly. Alright, and we want left. Alright, I want it to be as faithful to the original as possible, so what was the order of precedence here? It was a left, right, up, and down. Guess I could do it this way. All right, and we'll just do this for all the directions. Left, right, up, down. Alright, so I think that is pretty much all we need for the player as far as changing orientation. So let's just try this out here. Right, theoretically, this should allow me to move, or it could just be completely broken. That's also a valid option. I must have rotated it the wrong way. So, okay, what did I break? Ant was too small. That's possible, but I feel like this is where I messed it up. So this is correct though. So what did I actually mess up? Oh, okay, I see. I see what I messed up. Never mind. We need to actually process the game entity as well. All right. We've been waiting so long for the DLC for like 8 months. Couldn't you just release it? That's a great idea. Maybe I should just release it right now. I'll just get this, I'll get it in its current state and I'll release it and it won't be done, and then you won't like it because it's not ready yet. And then you'll just be mad at me for a different reason. Alright, so now we can move the player, so that's a good sign. Alright, so that's fine. Nilo the Frog is below terms of service age. Yeah, we do have a rule about that. We have a 0 tolerance policy for people who are below TOS age. Wait, how did you confirm this? Is it like in his bio or something? They seem to do that a lot. You literally just said he's 15. Well, I think 15 is above TOS. Oh, Poland. Okay. Yeah. That is just a straight up admission of breaking TOS, so... So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. What is TOS? It's terms of service. Hopefully you know what terms of service is. That is an important thing to know when you use an online thing like Discord. But yeah, just to be clear, alright, if this chat starts filling up with people being like, where this, where that, when release date, I will not hesitate to ban you, okay? I'm just, you know, just a warning, alright? I get that you're excited and you want it, which, you know, I do take that as a compliment, but at the same time, you know, here's, if you think that it's possible to do it faster, then you could just make your own thing faster, and then you don't have to wait for me to do it. But you're not doing that, so I get the sense that you actually can't do it, but you just like annoying me. You see where I'm going with this? The reality of the situation is I have a lot of things to work on, a lot of projects that different people want, and unfortunately the DLC, as much as I would love to release it right now, it just it's not possible. Alright, anyway, returning to the task at hand here. We are able to control the player, which is a good sign. It looks pretty much identical to the original game. I think this is probably a good time to actually start committing stuff to the repository. I have not actually set up the repository. I'm going to do that on my other screen over here so that we can actually start committing things. It's going to be pretty useful. So basically what happens is that usually when I release when I edit the videos later, I go back through the commit history to get the older screenshots, and that's going to be useful for this. Alright, we'll just call it Ant World 2024. All right, there we go. And we'll just do the usual for pushing an existing repository. Okay, actually I have to delete the origin, so let me do that. All right, there we go. All right, so I think that should be committed now. All right, there we go. All right, what's happening here? Guys, I don't even have the deals. Did you see what I said about my car? I must have missed it in between all of the requests about DLC information. Alright, so yeah, I guess okay, we're not, should I commit that? Okay, maybe I should fix that before I commit this. That'd probably be a good idea. So the issue with this is I just don't like that implementation. Has an issue with the ignition coil. It's arcing across the top of the coil. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've kind of had that. I've had that happen once. But yeah, usually it just means like your cables are messed up, or like maybe the connection is not good. But I don't know on a newer car. I'm thinking about like something really old. Alright, anyway, so yeah, I wanted to fix, before I actually commit this, I messed up something in my game engine, on purpose, of course. So over here... Alright, what would be the best way of fixing this here? Now, technically speaking, it should just work to cast that. Why would your school block GitHub? It's kind of random. It's funny because GitHub was like... I used to work at a company where they blocked basically every possible way of getting data off your computer, but they did not block GitHub. So you could just commit like huge pieces of data to GitHub and then just go home and download it. So there's like a huge security flaw, but I guess no one cared about that because they don't actually care about security. Maybe they changed it since then, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you technically need it as a developer, but I'm just saying it's a pretty major security risk if they're actually worried about people transferring data. Okay, so maybe... Alright, I don't know. Maybe this just decided that it wants to work now. Alright, that's fine. Now the real question is, why does this not work? Because I feel like this for sure would have to work. Because I feel like this would work fine. Or not. Maybe that doesn't work fine. This is one of those, basically, like, there are certain features of C++ that I actually don't fully understand, because I don't even know if it is possible to fully understand them. This would be one of them. I don't really get exactly what the rules are when you're casting things this way. I don't know why they made it this convoluted either. Because basically you just have this. Or wait, actually, maybe I'm just being stupid. If I do it this way. Alright, I guess that works. Okay, I think this is a good place. I think we're in a pretty good state here, so we can commit this. This will be our initial commit. Alright, that looks fine. Alright. I don't even want you guys to see the length of my password. There we go. Alright, yeah, if you're worried about the frame rate, that's actually pretty low. It should be a lot higher than that. It's just because we're running it with no compiler optimizations. Remember your demos from your technical explanation video? Can you make it into another game? Alright guys, I want you to... Alright, so think for a second here, okay? Everyone's asking for the DLC. Where DLC? Why can't I have it right now? And then, like literally 30 seconds later, people want a completely different game. Like, do you understand how much work it takes? It's a lot. It's a lot of work. Like, look at this. We've been working for how long here? I mean, this is really slow progress because we're also streaming, but like 55 minutes have gone into this, and I can basically change the way that my player is looking. All right, it takes time to do this. There are, you know, certain things can be sped up if you're using like a industry game engine, but that's really mainly at the beginning of the project. Once you get like deeper into the project, that stuff doesn't really matter anymore. So yeah, anyway, so as you can see, we're sitting at like maybe 2000 FPS pretty comfortably. Completely unnecessary, but you know, yeah. It was only lower before because we had the compiler optimizations turned off. Okay, so we have about 50 minutes left in this stream, so I guess the next thing that we can do is we can try to make the player move, but the only problem with that is that we're actually not going to be able to tell that the player is moving, so that's kind of a problem, because there's nothing... Whoa, what... Okay, I don't know if anyone saw that, but my Discord just completely messed up. Most people really just have no idea what goes into making a game. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more than you would think, but it's also like, okay, since we're here, okay, and there's some people here that are clearly very interested in the DLC, I just want to explain something, which is that the DLC as originally planned was done on schedule. I just want to go on record and say that. The reason why it wasn't released is, as I said in my video, it's just not that good. Like you see the kinds of things that people write on Steam, right? Imagine releasing something on Steam. It's basically my first ever paid game release, all right? And it just gets completely blasted on Steam for being terrible. Like, that's obviously not something that I want to happen. And I was only expecting maybe a few hundred, like, die-hard Steam Engine Simulator fans to download it. But now it has like 45,000 wish lists. Like, this is not a small number of people. So, you know, releasing something bad to that large of an audience is just, it's just not a good idea. And I get it, like, you want it fast, you want it now, but it's just not that simple. Alright, anyway, so we should probably actually get back to work here. Okay, so we have a lot of the basics in place. I know it seems like progress is a bit slow right now, but I feel like it'll get better when I get more used to multitasking on the stream here. Now, yeah, as I was saying before, we want to move the player, but the issue is that we're not going to be able to see the movement because there's nothing else. There's no reference point in the game. So I think we should maybe let's add like a rock. That seems pretty simple. So how did I implement the rock here? Can you just add any random texture to the middle of the map? Yes, of course I can do that, but I want to limit the amount of throwaway work here. A rock basically is just a random texture in the middle of the world, so it makes sense to implement that first. Alright, so the question is, did I even implement a separate class for that? Because knowing me and my programming ability at the time, I find it unlikely that I would have done that. I think we're going to have to consult the world creation.py here. So... okay, so how are big white rocks created? Apparently they just don't exist. Alright, that's fine. How are the rocks made? Am I just... because I know... okay, maybe this takes place in the sys core. That's maybe where all this highly complex processing takes place. Ah, there we go. Okay, so yeah. Basically the logic is that... this is so terrible. So there's a 1 in 500 chance. Basically a 1 in... but that doesn't really mean anything because it depends on the frame rate, so we're gonna have to convert that. Basically, 1 out of every 500 frames, we make a rock. And this rock... where is this defined? Okay, so the IntelliSense kind of works. It's in landscape.py. Okay, so basically what happens is that it chooses a random rock and then it just spawns. Okay. It's pretty straightforward, I guess. Alright, so let's just implement that quickly here. I'll probably just make a separate file for it. I guess I had an idea of... or wait, I made something else. A landscape object. Why does this exist? What's the point of... okay, I see what's happening here. Alright. Okay. So, what has occurred here? Now I remember what this is for. Somehow. Okay, so back in the day, I didn't understand about... well, I guess in SDL it doesn't really have that feature anyway, but for some reason, this is the way that I implemented it in the game. Instead of moving the player, I moved everything else in the world. So... that's what's happening here. I know. This is, I understand why I did this. It's obviously completely degenerate, but like... yeah. Alright, well that's fine. I mean, we're definitely not gonna do it that way, because that just seems like an absolute nightmare. Yeah, technically it's not wrong, because it gives kind of the right result visually, but yeah, there's definitely way better ways of doing this. Alright, so yeah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to create a new file here, and I guess what I called the file was landscape. Alright, we're just going to go with the same convention for better or worse. Let's create a new file here. There we go. I think originally I was intending to put a lot more into the landscape, but I guess I got lazy. Alright, that should be fine. Don't you have to store the location of things somewhere? Yeah, you do, but, and I've already done that. It's taken care of by the game engine. Alright, we got a whole argument about software licensing here. Just to be clear, if you want to steal the code that's on my screen, just go ahead. I don't care. Preferably not. I mean, even the game engine, there isn't really anything that, like, amazing inside. Like, if you really want to steal my scene object asset code, you know, go ahead. It's really not that complicated, though. I mean, if I was showing, like, my fluid simulation that I spent hundreds of hours on, yeah, maybe don't steal that. This stuff, I don't care. This is just, like, garbage code. Yeah, just steal my entire game engine. I might actually just make it open source at some point later. It used to be open source, then I took it down because it just wasn't done yet, and, I don't know. There were just a lot of people, like, I don't want people to clone it and think that it actually works and it's, like, not done. Okay, so I need to stop getting distracted. This is going to take forever. Alright, there we go. We have our landscape here. Now, do I actually even need this? Like, this is... For some reason, the landscape objects are tracked in the world. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I almost don't want to know why. Alright, we'll just do... I think what I'll do instead is I'll just make a rock. I feel like that's probably the best way to do it. The simplest way. Alright. Okay. And this is gonna be a very simple class because it's basically just like a static image. And it also, I don't think it takes input. We're definitely not gonna be moving it like we did in the past. Alright. Okay, and so the final step here is that I do have to be able to change the image in the game entity. So we can do that. Can you explain in 10 words what the gameplay loop of Ant World is supposed to be? Well, basically you collect leaves and food and you sell them for money and you accumulate money and then you buy real estate. That's it. It really does not have yeah, you can, you know, you could do like side quests like getting arrested, but you know, you don't have to do that. I guess it kind of is just Real Estate Simulator, but just a terrible one. Yeah, there is ant crime. We actually committed some crimes earlier on stream. We did drugs and we killed someone, so yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This is, I guess this is what I wanted in my ant game when I was this age. Basically, I wanted to be able to commit crime and do real estate deals. Alright, I'm getting distracted again. Alright, don't worry. We're gonna get better at this as the stream goes on. Okay, so I need to add a function here to change the image. Okay, and this should be pretty straightforward. I just need to set the image, and then I also have to propagate that. I don't want to do this every frame because it will reduce performance. Not that it like literally doesn't matter for this game, but you know. Alright, and now over here we can just get the rock image. Now technically speaking, the original implementation chose a random rock. We are going to do that. It's maybe not the most important thing to do right now. We just need a new folder here. Just call it landscape, I guess. I don't know. And now we have to bring over the old assets. Okay, so we have a few different rock variations. Why did I organize things this way? I feel like I must have been just straight up stupid. Like I feel like it just wouldn't be that complicated to understand that putting stuff in folders was better. But I guess it just, maybe I just didn't care. I was just that much of a mad lad. I didn't need to organize anything. Maybe my programming skills have just degenerated since this point. Alright, so we have big gray rock, big white rock. I think that's most of the rocks. I think, I mean, I could just search, but I think I got all of them. Exactly, folders, who needs them? Alright, there we go. That should be all of our rock assets, and we can just load these in the main file here. There's probably like a more, you know, efficient way of doing this, but where I don't have to type out every name. But I didn't get to that point, and it's not really needed for Engine Simulator because I don't really use textures in Engine Simulator. That's why I didn't put a lot of effort into this. Basically, the important things when it comes to Engine Simulator are being able to procedurally generate geometry and I guess render them. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple as far as game engine requirements. Alright, and one more for the small white rock. There we go. Okay, so we got all the rocks now. And for now, I think we're just gonna go with a random one. Probably big white rock. Maybe that makes sense. Or wait, that's wrong. Or wait, this is also wrong. What am I doing? There we go. Okay, so I think that should be fine. Now we have... Technically, we don't even need the render and all of this. This is kind of unnecessary. We'll just remove it. And then, in our application, we'll just spawn in a test rock. Okay, I think that should be it, I think. Well, we're probably, there's gonna be some issue, but... Okay. Alright, something has crashed. That's, I mean, I kind of saw that coming. Alright, so what this implies is that I just put in the wrong image name. So let's see if that is actually the case here. If I go to... Maybe I actually don't have an image called Big White Rock. Did I just invent that? Alright, so it should be here. Yeah, big White Rock is not real, apparently. Also, why am I running this? Let me change this to a debug mode here. So basically one of two things happened. I either messed up the way that I'm changing the image, or I'm just loading the wrong image. One of those two. Okay. Alright, so that's broken. Okay, I don't know what all this stuff is. I'm not sure why my Visual Studio decided to, like, just reorganize today for no reason. Okay, so that happens. Now... the image path... oh yeah, that's true. You are correct, sir. I didn't think about that. So, yeah, I may have... or actually, wait. Oh yeah, this is true. There we go. Alright. Typical... I know, as you can see, I'm a professional, you know. I'm so good at programming. Alright, there we go. We have a rock, we have an ant, and we are gonna... I think it's pretty easy to make this show up on the right layer, so that should be fine. Alright, now basically the next step, now that we have a rock in that position, we have to make the ant actually able to move. I'm pretty sure we can get this done before the end of the stream. We have about 30 minutes left, I think. I mean, you've seen how good I am at programming. I'm sure we can do that, no problem. So wait, I wasn't paying attention. Is the chat actually just completely degenerate now? Or, yes? Okay, what's happening? Yeah, no, we're not... I had to disable images because, it's gonna be on YouTube, and I'm just gonna be real. I don't necessarily trust everyone. Yeah, I could maybe add image perms for Patreon supporters. Dude's arguing that you're an evil person because your code is closed source. Oh, interesting. Well, we can have a conversation about that. Dude in question, let's have a little chat, okay? I've been meaning to talk to people like you for a while. I'm just curious to hear what your position is, okay? I'm not judging, alright? I don't hate you. I'm just curious to see, you know, to see what your opinion on this is. I'm just curious how this is justified. You should make the streams Patreon only again. Maybe. Well, this is more of a test than anything. It wasn't too bad until, I guess, now. I don't think it's that bad, though. I think this is just a pretty reasonable level of degeneracy. Alright, so here we go. How can a code that is being on stream be closed source? Well, I mean, that's kind of like saying, how can a book that you're reading be someone else's copyrighted property, you know, like, this is the dude, not the other guy. Okay, so I'm getting confused. Which guy is it? So we got Cerberus, and we got the other individual. So okay, just we're gonna have a civilized discussion about this. I like I'm just wasting all of my time. That's fine. This is an entertainment video, okay? What's an entertainment video without a bit of blood sport? I'm just curious to see, you know, what is the issue? Why am I so evil? And we're gonna have a calm, civilized, intellectual conversation about this. Put them in the gladiator ring. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. You want to come up on stage? Maybe we'll have a little conversation. Minecraft does not have built-in modding API. Okay. I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about. Yeah, I thought the Java version of Minecraft was kind of open to modding. I don't know anything about Minecraft, so I'm not even going to comment about this. Okay, so he was talking about why your demos are closed source. Well, he's not acknowledging me. This is the problem. He's ignoring the situation. Either that or he's not listening to the stream, which I feel like is also probable. Is he even in the stream? I feel like he's not even here. Why am I trying to talk to him? He's literally not even here. Alright, never mind. If he ever comes back in, then, wait, they are here? Maybe, am I blind? Oh, they are here. Never mind, I am blind. Let me finish my thing first. Yeah. Nah, I'm an idiot for sure. I try to seem like really serious in my videos, but I'm not really like that in real life. But anyway, Code Toil. I want to talk to you. All right? I just want to talk. Just let me know why you think I'm evil, and I'm gonna try to actually finish this before the end of the stream. I put him on stage. Honestly, I would, but anyway, okay. I'm gonna actually try to do some work here. I'm getting way too distracted. We've made like 0 progress in 3 hours. How is this even possible? Honestly, I might have to do some off-camera coding, even though it's kind of cheating, because otherwise I'm just not going to be able to focus at all. Alright, so what I wanted to do was I wanted the player to be able to move. So I guess probably the way that I did it before just doesn't make any sense, but I want to at least follow it like as much as I can so that I don't make too much work for myself. Okay. So the way that I did it here was there's a direction. Oh, I see. So basically there's a direction. I'm guessing that that gets normalized. Yeah, it gets normalized here. And then... okay, now I see what's happening here. Remember how, like, just not that long ago I was asking what this is for? Now I get it. It's because we have to move the anthill digging truck every time the player moves. So that's why that happens. Alright, I get it now. It's all making sense to me. So... yeah, the anthill digging truck, exactly. Okay, so actually this is a bit simpler than I thought. All we have to do is we have to keep track of our direction, and then we can just add that to our position and call it a day. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. So let's do this here. So basically I just need... can probably just do it this way. Okay, and then I guess, wait, is this correct? I think this is backwards. It should be this way. Okay, so we normalize the direction just like in the original game, and then we can just add We can just add that position to our transform here. I don't remember exactly what the speed was though, so that could maybe be an issue. We'll figure that out later. Alright, I'm just gonna take a wild guess and say like 100 pixels per second. Alright, let's see if this works. Okay, so my character doesn't exist. Excellent. Alright, so we've broken everything. Okay, what stupid thing did I do this time? So we add... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's X and Y is what we want. Or wait, okay, never mind. Never mind. I see what has occurred here. So what happened is I tried to normalize it, but that doesn't work because our direction could be 0. So I think in my code I made it so that this will work. I know it looks wrong, but... Or wait, it should be the other way. I think this should be fine. Alright, there we go. Alright, there we go. We have a moving ant. Pretty easy. I mean, honestly, like, I should have had this done in 10 minutes, but I just keep getting distracted. But yeah, we have moving ant, big white rock. We're missing, we are missing the animations, and also... The saturation looks wrong. I feel like maybe I'm not using the right color space potentially, so that might have to be fixed. Because I think this should be a little bit lighter. Doesn't match perfectly. But that's pretty easy to fix. Alright, did Code Toil get back to me yet, or is he still ignoring me? I'm still waiting to have this conversation. I've been waiting really patiently. Make the ant rotate in the direction of movement. Doesn't it already do that? I thought we already did that. At least I... Or the thing is that I'm trying to implement it... according to how it was in the original game. So, yeah, I mean, I know that it... The thing is that once we start deviating from that, we'll actually just get into the whole exercise of building a real game, and then this is gonna take weeks. So, we're trying to keep it as close to the original implementation as possible. Just in the interest of time. Only a 1080 Ti. Alright, so basically this whole chat has been characterized by either people blasting my PC or complaining that my code is not open source. I mean, do I seem like a guy who just games constantly? I mean, 1080 Ti still works perfectly for me. It's honestly maybe even a bit too fast. Shouldn't the shadow be closer to the ant? Yeah, well, this is something you'll have to take up with 14-year-old me. I would love to change it, but I want to use the original assets from the game. I know it's terrible. And it also doesn't work right because when you rotate, like... See, like, basically when I rotate, the shadow also rotates, which is also wrong. It should just be projected to the same place relative to the player. Anyway, I know it's bad. I know it's bad, so don't worry about it. Yeah, this I don't know about the HD texture pack. Maybe if we have time. Okay, so honestly, we've made like this is like most of the game, which is hilarious. Is just the ant being able to move around. Let's see. We have about 15 minutes left. I could maybe try to do animations. Maybe. It's not even like really an animation. I don't know why I'm pretending like this is supposed to be hard. Okay, so in terms of the... Okay, how did I implement animations? Okay, first of all, this is all unnecessary. Now, where does the Okay, here's where it gets animated. So we have a timer. This is so trash. I guess okay, so the timer is a frame timer. So that's not good. I mean, we should at least change that. We should just make it so that it actually, because it's just too dependent on, frame time. Alright, so, I don't know why we're talking about Minecraft. I mean, you know, maybe there is something to be said about Minecraft, but I'm just really curious in what was being discussed before. I mean, that's what I care about. I'm still waiting. I'll just be here, waiting patiently. Will you use the OG sound effects? Yeah, probably. If we get to, like, there are only like 2 sound effects in the game. There's the car sound effects, and actually that's it. So if we have time, maybe we'll get to that. But I feel like it's such a small component of the game that please make the community manager role a real thing so I can mute people I dislike. Well, I don't know if we want to go that far with it. I understand the feeling, but okay, so the animation is pretty straightforward. I'll try to implement this quickly. I feel like it might make sense, actually, to implement this. Wait, so was the player an... Okay, the player is an insect. I just completely skipped over that one. Is that even necessary? So what is in the insect? Okay, so we have an image for when it's dead. We have a bunch of stuff here. Okay. So, insects are apparently able to eat things. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm not sure what the point of this is, as far as the player is concerned. Alright guys, so let's all relax, okay? I have zero hesitation, alright? I will shut this stream down and I'll just record the video offline for YouTube. If we can't get along, I don't really know what's happening, but you know. I don't know if it's hard to tell, because a lot of times when I react to people on Discord, they're just like, "Oh, we were just joking anyway," so I don't know. If you're just joking, then I don't care. Okay, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to do the animation here. Now, if I remember correctly, the animation is just 2 frames. Okay. Now, I don't remember what these are called, so it was player image and player image second cycle. Interesting. Alright, now, let's see. Okay, I have like 12 minutes left. I'm just going to implement the way that it was done in the original game. It's terrible though. We'll come back and fix it later. So basically all that it does is you have a timer, and then it's a frame timer, like an integer, which is just complete trash. So we'll just do it like this, and then we'll just increment that whenever the player is moving. And then all we have to do is, I guess, just update which frame Alright, this is probably going to look terrible, but I'm just curious, because our frame rate is so high, it's just going to look like a vibrating ant. Or maybe the game just crashes. That's also an option. I think I probably just didn't load the image correctly. Seems like a mistake I would make. Player image, second cycle. I thought that's what it was called. So maybe I'm just imagining things here. Yeah, exactly. Alright, oh actually, okay, never mind. I'm just being stupid. It's because I don't wrap the frame correctly. So, let's just do this. I know there are better ways, but... Alright, here we go. We finally gotten to the task at hand. First of all, I don't claim to believe that closed source is evil. What I am claiming is that the demo author can't claim that the game designer should build a game based on some demo if the game designer doesn't have access to the internal source code of the demo. Alright, maybe I'm just stupid, but I promise, like I'm not trying to be annoying. I just legitimately don't understand. Maybe just like maybe I'm just trying to multitask too much here. So, okay, let me get this straight. The demo author can't claim that the game designer should build a game based on some demo if the game designer doesn't have access to the internal source of the demo. Okay, I mean, sure. If you're a game designer and you're implementing a game based on a demo, like let's say like I don't know, some studio gives you a demo and they're like, here, implement this game, then yeah, it makes sense to have access to the source. Like why? No one is disagreeing with that. I don't think so. Like I'm not disagreeing with that. If someone told me, hey bro, come and implement this game for me, here's the demo, then yeah, I'm gonna want to see the source for the demo. Like what? I don't understand. Like what's the what's the point of contention? Am I missing something? Anyway, let's see if this animation will work. It's gonna look terrible. Oh, there we go. What on earth? Yeah, so this is what 600 FPS animation looks like. It basically just looks like crazy vibrations. So yeah, we're gonna have to do this a more intelligent way. We'll just have to keep a timer. And then... I should probably make a class for this, though. That would probably be the intelligent way to do this, because I have a feeling I'm going to be implementing this multiple times. Alright, this is our first magic number of the day. Actually, that's not true, but we've had plenty of magical numbers. So maybe we'll do it at... I think the original game was at 30 FPS. Alright. Yeah, this is a terrible implementation, but I think it'll look fine. It'll look pretty close to the original. I was talking specifically about you and that 15-year-old. Okay, I don't know. You guys maybe have some beef that I'm not aware of. Okay, this looks pretty similar to the original game. It's maybe still a little bit too fast. So let's turn it down a little bit here. Okay, that's maybe too slow. All right, let's try this. I feel like it's always gonna look bad. I feel like that's still a little bit too slow, to be honest. It's just because the walk animation is so bad that, okay, I think this is probably fine. Like, okay, I just want to be clear. I know this is too fast for a real ant. But it's just the walk animation is so bad, you just can't salvage it. I think this looks pretty similar to the original game, though. Why doesn't the rock have collision? Yeah, the original Ant World has no collision. Uninstalling? How did you even install this? Yeah, collisions are, well, I mean, they were hard for me then, but it would be pretty easy to implement it. We're not going to implement it though. Like, this is the problem. As soon as we start getting into the, as soon as we start descending into the rabbit hole of adding features, it'll just complicate things like crazy. So we're trying to stick to, as much as possible, just the original, like, we want to be as faithful as possible to the original game. Alright, so we have about 5 minutes left of this particular stream. We are going to be coming back to streaming later today for another 3 hours. So how much, let's check our timer. Alright, so we've been at this for about an hour and a half. Alright, an hour and a half of wasted time during the stream probably. Also, I need to make it so that it recognizes this, but I'll do that later. Alright, so yeah, I mean, an hour and a half to make an ant move around with a rock is pretty terrible progress, but we're wasting a lot of time doing random stuff, so, you know, it's fine. Alright, so before we end the stream, I'm just going to very quickly, just in case there are people who did not join at the beginning and have no idea what's going on. Basically what's happening here is we are re-implementing a game that I wrote a long time ago, a very long time ago, when I was still in high school. It's absolutely terrible, but you know, it's just for fun. We're just making fun of my old code and you know, preferably not battling each other to the death in the chat. That would be great, but you never know. Maybe we'll have a few death matches here. We're going to do, every stream is going to be about 3 hours. So we've been streaming for about 3 hours now. I'm going to come back later today and we're going to continue with another 3-hour stream. And we're going to keep doing this for like the next 2 or 3 days. All right. And yeah, this, my Discord is so broken right now. I feel like this is probably going to show up on the stream, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, but yeah, that's basically what we're up to. We will be resuming this later today. All right. So, I guess in the next stream, we have to look at the next critical mechanic of the game, which is the ability to pick things up. That's probably, you know, we've already done like the majority of the game at this point in terms of like the very basic mechanics. The next thing that we have to look at is the ability to pick things up, which I think should be pretty simple. Yeah, you can see also the animation is definitely, I'm pretty sure this is at 30 FPS. So you can pick up leaves and move them around. I mean, this is also pretty easy to implement. And you can also eat them and stuff like that. 12, what's 12 nested code? You mean this? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is a mark of a good programmer right here. I do also have the word wrap turned on, which doesn't, well, I guess it was kind of making it better. Alright, I know that it seems like there's a lot of if statements here, which there are for sure, but this is the thing about game development. Like, at a certain point, there just are going to be a lot of if statements. You can't avoid it forever. Now, I admit that this is a little bit, you know, this could have been formatted better for sure. But yeah, if you look at any game, AAA, whatever, you're gonna find a lot of if statements, I promise. Okay, we're representing the demo author. So, okay, was the problem, like, did you think that I was making a game based on someone else's game? Is that what happened? Because this is my game, this is all my code that I own, so I'm confused. I'm not sure, like, is there even an argument here? Guys, I don't think this is that important. Like, I feel like it's the Polish person was the game designer. Is there a Polish game designer in the chat? Because it's not me. Polish person was the hypothetical game designer. Alright, I'm lost, but it's the end of the stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We have about 3 times more people than I was expecting. I was fully expecting for there to be about 10 people left, so 30 people is actually pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, probably I was fully expecting to be streaming mostly on my own for most of these. And probably towards the end, that'll probably be the reality. I get that it's not that fun to watch, but you know, occasionally we, you know, we make some jokes here and there. Apparently we get into brawls in the comments, etc, etc. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I don't remember the exact time the next one is happening. It's going to be in a few hours later today. That'll be another 3-hour stream, and we'll just pick up where we left off. Alright, hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for joining, and I will see you very soon. Alright, and my YouTube viewers, I don't know if anyone's actually watching this on YouTube, but thanks for watching. We will be back to streaming very shortly. Alright, see you.